I'm here today with Julia Gustafson. She is the head of CRN's government relations team. She's a seasoned GR professional, and she joined Team CRN back in October of this past year, so 2019. For those who may not know, can you tell us a little bit about your background before coming to CRN?
Sure, Emily, thank you. And also, thank you very much for calling me seasoned and not old. That's important, and I appreciate it. But as many government relations professionals do, I actually started my career on Capitol Hill. I'm sure that's not surprising. I guess it's fair to say that I did catch what people call the swamp bug, and decided to go to law school so that I could continue my path in advocacy and policy education. So after law school, I came back to DC and got a job with a member of Congress back on Capitol Hill. Spent 3 years as his legislative director and worked my way up into helping him with the Appropriations Committee once he was assigned to that committee. So I got to see not only the inner workings of Congress from an authorizing standpoint, but also from an appropriator standpoint, which is a little bit different, and there are some subtle nuances. So I feel like I have a pretty wide breadth of experience.
What an impressive and interesting career path. What have been some of your favorite initiatives to work on thus far here at CRN?
I've been really excited to work on several of our priorities. I know you're familiar with the SARMS legislation that we got introduced in the Senate, and also some of the tax initiatives that we've been working on FSAs and HSAs. We're also starting discussions with lawmakers and elected officials regarding mandatory product listing, which is a huge priority for our board. And we're working with several other organizations and stakeholders, including some of the NGO side on that, as well as myself being part of the interdisciplinary team here at CRN, working on a legal path forward for CBD and dietary supplements. So we're busy, but it's really fun and exciting, and I think we have some momentum, and I think we're going to make some big advances this year.
2020 is a presidential election year. How can we forget? And now we're about a month or so into the second and final term of this Congress. I think we can also agree that it is an exciting time to be in the dietary supplement industry.
Yes.
What do you foresee could be some major legislative developments for the dietary supplement industry this year?
Great question. And the fact that you mentioned that it's a presidential election year is really important to answering that question, because as everybody knows, election years are a little bit different in terms of how Congress legislates. Just because of the nature of an election, both parties are a little bit reticent to give the other party what they refer to as a win or a victory. But I do think that when you talk about dietary supplements, they typically are a nonpartisan issue. We have champions on both sides of the hill in both parties. So I think that we do have an opportunity, unlike a lot of other industries, to truly advance the needle on a few of our key initiatives, including hopefully CBD. That's something that we have been working on for over a year, since before I got here, but we were really excited to see that the president included some funding recommendations in his budget, which came out on Monday. It was $5 million for FDA to do some research on CBD. Now, the president's budget is non-binding. Congress does not have to go with anything that the president recommends, but it is a marker, and it does show that at least the administration recognizes that there is an issue out there regarding CBD being non-regulated, and that it probably is better for them to do something sooner rather than later. So we're encouraged, but we can't get too excited.
Right.
We have a lot of work to do, and we will need to make sure that we educate Congress on why this is important. We have been doing that, but we're going to continue to do that. And hopefully over the course of the next 5-6 months, as Congress goes through the budget and goes through the funding and appropriations process, we'll be able to see a little bit of traction, and we will be reporting back on any sort of new developments.
And now for my favorite question, and I'm particularly interested because you are relatively new to the dietary supplement industry. What does your supplement regimen look like right now?
Well, honestly, it hasn't changed too much since I joined CRN. I've always been a believer, and I do take a multivitamin every day. Actually, I've switched to gummies, which is great. It's sort of a treat as opposed to a vitamin. I also do liquid B12 and D3. It's just something that my doctor recommended years ago, and I found is beneficial. Since I joined the industry, I actually have added a probiotic. So that's something that I have added, and I'm always curious about other products that I may be able to add to my regimen, and I'm always learning. I've asked colleagues and getting feedback. But interestingly, for years we've given our pets glucosamine for their joints. And I truly believe that supplements are not only advantageous for us, but also for our furry friends.
Certainly. Well, thank you so much for joining us.